I'm not afraid to say it, I'm not ashamed to say it, and I'm willing to say it any time of the day. I am pro-life because otherwise I would be pro-crime. My name is Diana Paul and you are watching Break Truth, where the truth is breaking through. I want to be clear from the beginning, I do not condemn anyone. Whether you support abortions, whether you had an abortion, whether you perform abortions, okay, I think it's wrong. I believe there is another way, a better way, but that is for you to discover and to accept. This is part one of the video Why I Am Pro-Life, which I decided to divide into two parts because there are a lot of arguments that I have to address, and I did not want to make a half an hour long video which you probably wouldn't watch until the end because there's a lot of information that you have to absorb all at once, and I know it can be exhausting at some point. So I decided to break it into two parts. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below, or you can write me in private on my Instagram account at Diana_Paul7. But I will candidly ask you to watch this video until the end because I can promise you that there's at least one piece of information that you did not know about abortion. And it's not your fault. The pro-abortion industry keeps away this information from you because it benefits them that you are uninformed. So because I want you to be informed, I left in the description below all the links to all the resources I use, the major resources that I use, and you can go read more there because I try to summarize the information in this video. And now, let's begin. The biggest success of the pro-abortion industry was to mask the true face of abortion, the killing of an innocent child. They politicized it, they legalized it, they made it morally justifiable by lying, manipulating, and misinforming. Okay, so the biggest success of the pro-abortion industry was to make murder legal by placing it in a very nice looking box on which they wrote women's rights. I must confess, at some point I was so sick to hear the same arguments over and over and over again, both on the pro-life side and on the pro-choice side, because I thought that there must be a new argument, something that would convince people. Now, don't misunderstand me, my intention is not to convince you, I cannot do that. The only person who can convince you is yourself, but I will put forward information and my opinion, and you are free to decide what side you want to be on. But because I wanted to find out a new argument, an argument that could convince people, I actually asked someone, why is this huge debate if the evidence is so clear? Isn't there something new, something that would show people what is the truth behind all this? And you know what answer I received? You don't need a new argument. You need an argument which can stand no matter the counter arguments you attack it with. And that was revealing to me because there are many arguments, many such arguments, not just one that can stand no matter the counter arguments you bring against it. And I think there is a fundamental one which should make anyone on the pro-abortion side have second thoughts. And that is, in the process of abortion, a living human being is killed. And that is wrong. And don't worry, I will show you the proof for this and all the other claims in this video and in the next video, but in this video I will talk about two major arguments. Number one, why abortion is killing a living human being, and I will answer all the arguments brought against this by the pro-choice side. And number two, why my body, my choice is not a valid argument to justify abortion. Trust me, there's a lot to talk about. And now, let's finally get to work. Why am I pro-life? Argument number one, abortion is killing a living human being. Now, the first problem pro-choice people will have with this is that it doesn't kill it since we don't know when life begins. We don't know if it's alive or not. This argument is extremely false. We do know when life begins. It begins at conception, okay? It's medically proven, it's scientifically proven, it's biologically proven. It has nothing to do with religion or politics. It's science. But now, for the argument's sake, imagine this scenario. We don't know when life begins, but we do know that there's a potential human life in the womb. Do you kill it or not? It would be cruel and criminal to kill a potential life for your own comfort. And if you don't want to listen to the science, you will probably listen to the people on your side, key figures in the pro-abortion industry who confirm that whatever is in the womb is alive from the very moment of conception. Faye Wattleton, the longest president of Planned Parenthood, in 1993 in an interview with Ms. Magazine stated, "I think we have deluded ourselves into believing that people don't know that abortion is killing. So any pretense that abortion is not killing is a signal of our ambivalence, a signal that we cannot say yes, it kills a fetus." Then we have Dr. Bernard Nathanson, the co-founder of the most influential abortion advocacy group in the world, NARAL, who served as medical director for Planned Parenthood. And in an article for the New England Journal of Medics, he says, "There's no longer serious doubt in my mind that human life exists within the womb from the very onset of pregnancy." And Margaret Sanger, the woman who founded Planned Parenthood and later condemned abortion, so listen to this, the woman who founded the biggest abortion clinic in the United States, later condemned abortion, stated in 1932 that no new life begins unless there is conception. And I can go on with the list. We know that life begins at conception. This idea that life begins only when we take our first breath is fabricated. It's not an objective assessment of the facts. We know when life begins. There is a beating heart in the womb. It just makes this idea just makes life so subjective in an attempt to justify abortion. And it's unfair. The second argument, the pro-choice side will bring against this idea that abortion is killing a living human being, is that even there is something in the womb which is alive, it's not a human being. What is it then? Can women give birth to animals, to objects? What is it? It's a human being in the process of development. Okay, by their reasoning, an infant, a newborn baby, is less of a human being than an adult because it's in a lower stage of development on the development scale. In the words of Ben Shapiro, if that baby were outside the womb and you would stuck a knife through his chest, you would be charged with first-degree murder. You kill it in the womb and you call it a human right. So in the womb, there is a living human being in the process of development who will go through all the stages of normal human development if you don't prevent it from doing so. The terms zygote, blastocyst, fetus, embryo just dehumanize the reality behind them. The pro-abortion industry managed to use these words to make us believe that in the womb there's less of a human being. These words are no different from the terms infant, toddler, adolescent, adult. They are just describing the human being in different stages of development. Don't let the words stop you from seeing the reality behind it, because theory can be proven wrong by empirical evidence. As I explained before, the baby in the womb is a living human being. But the pro-choice side managed to find another way to promote the criminal activity of killing babies. I know it sounds bad, but it's just the way it is. They say, it doesn't matter if it's human or not, because it's not a person yet. Look, the last time we deprived people of their personhood, a tragedy happened. The Holocaust, the slavery of Africans, the oppression of women, and now abortion, the killing of innocent children. So let me ask you this. Based on what exactly do we attribute personhood to a human being? Consciousness? Twins in the womb were observed to become conscious of each other. Well, guess what? People in coma, people who are born in coma, are not conscious. People while they sleep are not conscious. What else? Rationality? People under general anesthesia cannot think rationally. If you kill them deliberately, you're charged with first-degree murder. Why is it different for unborn babies? Now what? Do babies need a soul? Can you prove they don't have one? Because if you can't, I don't have to prove otherwise. Okay, look, this argument is not only incapable of proof, but it's unscientific, immoral, and has absolutely nothing to do with facts, just opinions. And we don't make laws based on opinions which have no factual or moral ground. And now we can go to the second part of this video, which you probably waited for. My body, my choice. Whether you thought about it or not, this argument can be easily debunked scientifically, but it also has some social and legal implications. And because I wanted to make it as comprehensible as possible, I divided it into 4 parts. First, yes, a woman has all the rights over her own body, but not over someone else's body. When we are talking about abortion, there is one big obvious problem that is being avoided. There are 2 bodies involved, not just one. The woman's and the baby's. It's scientifically proven that at conception, a new human being is formed with its own unique DNA, different from the one of the mother. More than that, because the baby in the womb develops in the first couple of weeks all the organs and body parts that an adult has, we can certainly say that a woman does not have 20 fingers, 20 toes, 2 heads, 2 brains, and if the baby is a boy, the woman does not have the reproductive system of a male. Second, fine, the baby is alive, is a human being and a person, but the mother still has a choice to kill it because it's a parasite. The baby is not a parasite, as some have the audacity to call it. First, a parasite is different in species than its host. The baby is a human being as the mother is. Second, if the baby was a parasite, the mother's immune system would attack it. But you know what's actually happening? The mother's immune system in the abdominal area is weakened by the chemical substances emitted by the baby in the uterus. So the body of the baby is not rejected by the body of the mother. Now listen to this. If the embryo was part of the woman's body, there would have been no need to locally disable the immune system of the woman during the pregnancy. It's that simple. And I'm not even going to start the debate about dependency, that somehow the baby in the womb is dependent on the mother, so the mother has a right to kill it if she doesn't want it. An infant, a newborn, is also dependent on a mother, on adults. There are many adults in this world who are dependent on external support, and I don't think you would go and argue that there's absolutely no problem with chopping their heads and hands off. Third, regarding the social side of this argument, what do you think is the message that men receive when they hear "my body, my choice"? It basically spares them of any responsibility. If the woman remains pregnant unintentionally, the man can just wipe it off. Your body, your choice, your responsibility, your business, not mine. Why do you think there are so many single mothers? This is the perfect scenario in which women can be used as sex objects. Abortion is anything but women liberation. And fourth, we are going to talk about the legal, constitutional, and moral implications of this argument. Constitutionally, this whole debate about abortion started since Roe v. Wade in 1973, the Supreme Court case which legalized abortion. You most certainly know about it. If you don't know, it basically gave an absolute right to abortion under which any abortion is justified, including third trimester abortions, even if the lawyer who defended Jane Roe, the woman who wanted an abortion in this case, said that she was the victim of rape. Now let me clarify, because there are two very important things that you have to remember. The first thing that you have to remember is that the Supreme Court case was based on a lie. Jane Roe was not a victim of rape. This was just used to promote the pro-abortion industry. Truly, she wanted an elective abortion. That means that the reasons do not include rape, incest, or health. The second most important thing is that if she was raped, as it was stated in court, why did the Supreme Court legalize all abortions, not just those in cases of rape? They legalized abortion for all cases regardless of the reason. Actually, they did say reasons which include the well-being of the woman, the health of the woman, but the term health is very broad and it has not been defined. What does it include specifically? Physical health? Okay, what else? Mental health? Okay, still not clear enough. What else? Social health. Economic health. Basically, Roe versus Wade legalized abortion for any woman who wants one. Of course, there is another debate that results from this claim. If the woman wants the abortion, just let her have it. Even if it's wrong, she'll learn. But it's a free society. Who are you to tell her no? Listen, it's impossible to justify abortion with the argument women are free to choose. Yes, the law leaves people the legal freedom to make bad choices, but the law must do whatever it can to prohibit criminal choices. Nobody should believe that they have a right to kill another human being. This idea that you are free to do whatever you want when you want it because it's a free society is misinterpreted. Yes, you are free. Yes, you are free to choose, but free to choose what? In any civilized society, you are free to do whatever you want until your free choice harms an innocent person. That is the rule. That is the law. Look, nobody would argue that sexual abuse should be permitted because the man is free to choose. What a fool he would be to try and justify rape by saying, my body, my choice. In that case, as well as in the case of abortion, there are two people involved, and the choice of the stronger harms the weaker. Is this the society you want to live in? I hope not. To be continued. Here it ends the first part of the video, why I am pro-life. I really appreciate if you watched until the end. I know there has been a lot of information. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. You can also write to me in private on my Instagram account at Diana_Paul7. Now, if you will ask me about an argument that I will analyze in part 2, I will ask you to wait until next week when it will come out, when I will also talk about some very interesting stuff, including illegal abortions. Is abortion ever medically necessary, and abortion in cases of rape? So, if you want to make sure that you don't miss it, please subscribe, hit the notification bell so you are notified when it comes out, and hit the like button if you think that this video helped you in any way. I will see you next week with part 2, so stay tuned. Let's fight the good fight and protect the most vulnerable people of our society. I am Diana Paul, I am pro-life, and you just watched how truth is breaking through.